Morning all. All right, we have a busy night in hockey. There's my Creed magnet with 7 games at 4, one at 4:30, one at 5, just the shocked Creed magnet. So I'll do my best to follow as much as I can tonight. Again, most of the action starting at 4, and we'll see how it goes. It's kind of funny. So my wife and I are scheduled for, we're getting our first shots for the vaccination on Monday. And I didn't realize until I was setting the whole thing up, my picture ID expired over a year ago. That's how often we leave the house. So I have to get all that, I have to start the process getting that replaced today. Although I still have like my passport and my Nexus card. It's just one of those things that shows you, wow, it's been over a year already. I didn't even know that it expired. That would have definitely come up between then and now, and I would have already got that replaced a long time ago. So yeah, 7 o'clock tonight, 4 o'clock Pacific, just to put stuff in perspective. We've got the Philadelphia Flyers and the New York Rangers. The Flyers 20-18-7. The Rangers 23-17-6. These teams have both won 3 games in this season series. So there's 2 left. The Flyers need to win both, let's be honest. Over their last 10, they haven't been a team that wins both of things. They're 3-4-3. The Rangers over their last 10 are 6-2-2. And to their credit, they have done their best to make the race in the East interesting, even though none of the teams ahead of them seem to want to keep it interesting. Goals for the Philadelphia Flyers, 2.8 goals per game, which is 17th in the NHL. The Rangers, 3.28 goals per game, which is 6th. Goals against, 30th in the league for Philadelphia. This is what they're going to need to improve in the offseason. 3.51 goals against per game. And on the Rangers side, 2.65 goals against per game, which is 11th. Rangers numbers are overall better than people might think they are by looking at the standings. And it tells you that next year we go back to regular divisions, a full 82-game season. Who knows, right? So, we'll see who wins that one. And then also at 7 Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Winnipeg Jets. So this is a battle for first, kind of, sort of. In that, Toronto's won 4 out of 7 in this series so far this year. But if the Winnipeg Jets can win a couple in regulation here against Toronto, they're right there. Over their last 10, Toronto's 5-3-2. With the internet, you'd think they were 0-10, but they're 5-3-2. With Winnipeg, they're 6-3-1. And I'm not trying to minimize. Toronto definitely needs to turn things around. But their last game, they just weren't getting goaltending. The game before that, the goaltender stole the game from them. Toronto's playing well. The key is not to overcorrect. So as long as they don't overcorrect, this should be a very interesting game. Goals for Toronto, 3.24 goals per game, which is 7th. For the Winnipeg Jets, 3.2 goals per game, which is 10th. Goals against, 2.74 goals against per game for Toronto, which is 12th. 2.62 is the number for Winnipeg, which is 8th. So their overall numbers are very close to one another. Also at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, the Boston Bruins in against the Buffalo Sabres. Boston's won all 4 meetings, but they've been close the last couple. So for Boston, they're 26-12-6. Buffalo, 12-27-7. Their season is over. Over their last 10, Boston's 7-2-1. Buffalo's 5-4-1. So again, it's one of those situations where Buffalo definitely been playing better recently, and Boston got to keep that in mind. Goals for and goals against, 2.80 goals for per game for Boston, which is 18th. Goals for per game for Buffalo, 2.35, which is 29th. Goals against per game, 2.45 for Boston, which is 6th. 3.33, which is 27th for the Buffalo Sabres. And again, at least they've stopped allowing more than a goal per game more than they're scoring. It's very close. But right now it's 0.98 is the difference. So it's those minor differences, right? So we'll see how things go tonight. And Boston just, have to make sure they're not taking Buffalo lightly, or they might be in some trouble. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, the Washington Capitals, the New York Islanders, both teams 29-13-4. Washington's won 3 out of 5. They've got 3 games left. They're coming up here. This is the first of the 3. And so in their last 10, Washington 6-4. They've looked mortal. The Islanders 7-3 have alternated between looking like a team that could score at will and a team that can't score. So they just have to find that happy medium there. Goals for per game, 3.5 for the Capitals, which is 2nd in the NHL. 2.8 for the New York Islanders. They're 16th in that on that score. Goals against per game, 3.02, which is 19th for the Washington Capitals. That's a number they're going to want to improve going into the playoffs. 2.28, which is second for the New York Islanders. So, if it's a low-scoring game, that favors the Islanders. If it's a shoot-'em-up kind of game, then that favors the Caps. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Columbus has won 3 out of 6 against Tampa. So Tampa, again, if they want to keep in this race for first place, they've got to win this game. Columbus 15, 24, and 9. Tampa 30, 14, and 2 over their last 10. Columbus 1, 8, and 1. They're done. Tampa Bay 5 and 5. Goals for per game, 2.4 is the number now for Columbus. They are 28th in the National Hockey League for that. They're barely ahead of Buffalo right now. So 3.33 goals against, which is 28th as well. And so, yeah, they've become one of those teams that allows roughly a goal per game more than they score. On the Tampa Bay side, they're scoring 3.3 goals per game, which is 5th. They're allowing 2.61, which is 7th in the National Hockey League. So they score about 1 more per game than they allow. But again, the race in that division's really tight. They're going to have to, pick it up from here. Also at 7 Eastern, a game that Tampa Bay really hopes isn't a three-pointer. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers. Carolina 30-10 and 5. Florida 30-12 and 5. So Carolina's got a couple games in hand. They win this one in regulation. They go a long way towards hoping, that they'll hold off Florida. And the season series is part of the reason they're ahead. They've won 5 out of 6 head-to-head against Florida. Over their last 10, Carolina's 6-2 and 2. Florida's 6-3 and 1. And so there you go. Very little to pick between these two. Goals for per game, 3.16 for Carolina, which is 11th. 3.21 for Florida, which is 8th. They're very close. They're very close to the goals against category as well. 2.36 for Carolina per game. 2.64 for Florida, 10th. And again, these teams are very comparable. And if we end up with this being the 2-3 series, I think the 2-3 series in the Central, no matter who it is, it's going to be fantastic. Really looking forward to it. And then the last game starting at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. The New Jersey Devils in against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And New Jersey, of course, 14, 25, and 6. Almost with an incredible comeback last game, scoring 6 third-period goals. They didn't quite seal their comeback victory, though. Pittsburgh's won 4 out of 6 now against New Jersey. They're 29, 14, and 3. Over their last 10, New Jersey 1 and 9. Over their last 10, Pittsburgh 6-3 and 1. Goals for 2.56 per game for New Jersey, which is 27th. 3.39 for Pittsburgh, which is 3rd in the National Hockey League. Goals against 3.40 for New Jersey, which is 29th. 2.85 for Pittsburgh, which is 16th. And so, yeah, there's a lot to choose from, starting at 4 o'clock my time. Then at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, you get Detroit and Dallas. And this time it's in Detroit. So Dallas, 19, 14, and 12 now. The Detroit Red Wings, 16, 25, and 7. Dallas has won 5 out of 6. And if they can run the table against Detroit, good chance. And again, with the 1 point that Nashville got last night, if Dallas wins this one, they tie them in points. Over their last 10, Dallas, a respectable 6-2 and 2. Detroit, also respectable considering their overall standing, 4-4 and 2. They do not have an off switch when it comes to their work ethic. So for the goals for perspective, Dallas, 2.84, which is 14th per game. 2.21 for Detroit, which is 30th. So that's an ouch. Goals against per game, 2.38 for Dallas, which is 5th. 3.15 for Detroit, which is 23rd. 23rd's bad, but it seems to be better than their numbers were last season, right? So things are getting better for Detroit. And for Dallas, it's that defense that keeps them on this streak that they're on. Their defense, their goaltending have been very good. Then at 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, we've got the Colorado Avalanche making their return, 39 and 4 now. And that's 30-9-4, not 39 and 4. The St. Louis Blues 19, 18, and 6, and over their last 10, Colorado's 9 and 1, St. Louis 3, 6 and 1, and it goes in between. They want that 4 spot or they don't want that 4 spot. We'll see which team shows up tonight. Goals for and against. Goals for Colorado, they're number 1 in that category, 3.58 per game. St. Louis, middle of the pack. They're 15th at 2.84 goals per game. Goals against, 2.33 for Colorado, which is 3rd. And on the St. Louis side, 3.09, which is 21st. So yeah, that should be quite the game. Should be a lot of fun. And then at 10 Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, I'm really hoping this game's a fun one to watch, because all of this is going to end, and then I'm just going to be left with this, basically, for a while. Ottawa and Vancouver. Vancouver's won all 5 meetings. The most recent 2 being a lot closer than the other 3 were. Ottawa outplayed Vancouver in at least one of those 2 games in Ottawa. Ottawa 16-26-4, Vancouver 18-18-3, and this is part of that brutal schedule. They now have 4 in a row against Ottawa, and it's over a very short period of time. Over their last 10, Ottawa's 4-6, so they'll work hard as well. The Vancouver Canucks 6-3-1. So again, they've won their 2 most recent games against Toronto. I thought they looked better in the second game than they looked in the first. We'll see if that progression in their play is if it advances again tonight. On the scoring front, 2.70 goals per game for Ottawa, which is 22nd. Vancouver's 21st in that category with 2.72, and their attack has been anemic at points this season. That number checks out. Goals against is also kind of not great for both of these teams. 31st is Ottawa with 3.59, which is better than it was at the start of the year. Vancouver's also better than they were at the start of the year, but 3.18 goals against per game is 25th in the National Hockey League. So those are the numbers they have to overcome as well. And there's a lot that Vancouver would have to overcome if they're really going to join this playoff race and make it interesting. And we'll see how the game goes against Ottawa tonight. But they really do have to have an amazing record from here. Again, when they came back to play, I basically said if they can finish above 500, that for me is success. I'd be very happy, and right now they are 500. So if they just won one more game than they lost from here the rest of the way, I would consider that a success considering the schedule they've had. So let me know your thoughts, your winners for all these games in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.